Capcom has just recently officially declared its intent to revive its dormant franchises, following the feedback for the announcements of the Okami sequel and the new Onimusha title called Way of the Sword. With a renewed focus on resurrecting the dormant IPs, Capcom seems to mark a new era, making all of us wonder if we will see a new Mega Man title, maybe a new Dino Crisis remake, or God's Hand coming to modern platforms. The question is plain and simple: which beloved series could be next? And none of us expected names like Okami and Onimusha to be back in the spotlight. However, in addition to these two brilliant IPs, there is another underdog, and that is Breath of Fire. Among the franchise's legendary entries, both Breath of Fire 3 and Breath of Fire 4 stand out as masterpieces that could shine brighter than ever with a modern revival. However, I picked Breath of Fire 4 to be my first guest. I'm thinking about playing Breath of Fire 1, 2 and 3 on livestream before talking about them here. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today I will talk about why Breath of Fire 4 should be Capcom's next great comeback story and introduce this brilliant experience to newcomers in the name of Fou-Lu. First, let's talk briefly about the Breath of Fire franchise. Known as the JRPG title of Capcom's immense library, debuting in 1993, the series quickly gained a reputation for its rich storytelling, compelling characters, and of course, its signature focus on dragons. From the very first game, which introduced players to the legacy of the Dragon Clan, to Breath of Fire 3 with its emotionally charged coming-of-age story, each entry brought something unique to the table. The games explored universal themes like identity, sacrifice, and the delicate balance between power and humanity, all while pushing the boundaries of storytelling and gameplay innovation in their respective eras, delivering the unique designs and the style of Capcom. But among these titles, Breath of Fire 4 holds a special place in my heart. I also love Breath of Fire 3, I love its gritty, dark narrative and memorable characters, but BOF 4 simply charmed me when I was a kid, whether it be the music, the pixel art or Fou-Lu's story. And don't forget that it also acts as a gateway to the series, while simultaneously standing on its own as a masterpiece, blending Eastern and Western mythologies, presenting the protagonist Ryu and BOF 4's antagonist Fou-Lu as playable characters, bringing a depth and complexity to the narrative that few games of its time could rival. Breath of Fire 4 simply strikes a balance between honoring the franchise's legacy and crafting a standalone experience. Its deep connection to dragon mythology, its focus on morally complex narratives, and its ability to create emotional resonance through its characters, they all build a memorable, impactful narrative that is fresh, cruel, yet charming. For newcomers, Breath of Fire 4 offers an unforgettable introduction to a world of dragons, dreams, and dilemmas. For Breath of Fire and Capcom fans, it is also a reminder of why this series remains so beloved despite its dormancy. But in many ways, it represents the heart and soul of the Breath of Fire franchise, making it the perfect candidate for a revival that can reignite the passion of old fans and also create new ones. From now on, let's talk about the narrative of Breath of Fire 4, and it's possibly the best character, Fou-Lu, who represents the divine wrath like no other. At its heart, Breath of Fire 4 tells a story of duality, of gods and mortals, light and darkness, peace and conflict. The story begins with Nina, a princess searching for her missing sister, Elena. As Nina and the chieftain of the Warren tribe Cray desperately seek the whereabouts of Elena, they end up in a desert where Nina encounters Ryu, a mysterious boy with no memory of his past, left to Nina's care by an invisible yet mysterious dragon. As Ryu is destined to play a pivotal role in the unfolding events, he joins Nina and Krei's journey while the Empire searches for the dragons, where its founder comes back to life just as Ryu is found by Nina. Breath of Fire 4 doesn't settle for a simple tale of a good versus evil, instead it explores moral ambiguity through its antagonist Fou-Lu. Fou-Lu is no ordinary villain, and you know what? I wouldn't even call him a villain due to what he experiences through Breath of Fire 4. The duality between Ryu and Fou-Lu is often felt similar to the one we experienced through Cloud and Sephiroth. Both Ryu and Fou-Lu are also bound by something similar, just like Cloud and Sephiroth of Final Fantasy VII. Maybe this makes Breath of Fire 3 somewhat similar to Final Fantasy VI, while BOF 4 becomes something similar to Final Fantasy VII. Without giving any spoilers to the newcomers, Fou-Lu represents the divine struggling to coexist with humanity, although also trying his best to do so. His disdain for mortals stems not from a desire for power, but from their betrayal and cruelty. This duality between Ryu's quest to protect the world and Fou-Lu's justified grievances creates a narrative that is cruel, hopeful, and memorable. Breath of Fire 4 stands out for its willingness to blur the lines between hero and villain. It's a narrative that challenges players to consider the complexities of justice and revenge. Fou-Lu, as being the first emperor of the Fu Empire, is awakened at the beginning of the game after centuries of slumber. As he returns to a world that has forsaken him, he is marked by betrayal and cruelty. Despite his godlike status, Fou-Lu is haunted by the empires of Fu, and after a while, Fou-Lu's journey even leads him to a small village where an innocent girl called Mami tries to cure Fou-Lu and keep him from harm as he tries to recover from his wounds. However, Fou-Lu's patience, his divine wrath, is being tested over and over again, as Mami is first brutally tortured by the Empire and turned into ammunition for a magical cannon that is later aimed at Fou-Lu himself to destroy him. As this duality between the journey of Ryu and Fou-Lu creates a powerful tension, from Fou-Lu's awakening, you the players are forced to confront Fou-Lu's perspective, play as him as the Empire tries to strike you down at every moment. His journey is not just of an antagonist, it is a tragic descent into despair and vengeance, one that mirrors Ryu's ascent as a hero. The emotional weight of Breath of Fire 4 lies not only in its grand narrative, but also in the richly developed characters that accompany Ryu on his journey. Nina, the Princess of Windia, is the first companion to join Ryu on his journey, and her role as both a leader and a friend makes her the emotional backbone of the party. As a member of the royal family, Nina carries the weight of her kingdom's expectations while striving to forge her own path. She is a powerful mage specializing in elemental magic. Krei, a Warren tribesman, is Elena's childhood friend and protector. As the leader of his tribe, Krei is steadfast and dependable, a figure of strength and loyalty. In combat, Krei is a physical powerhouse, wielding heavy weapons and boasting in high defense, taking the role of a tank. Arshin is one of the most mysterious characters in Breath of Fire 4. Clad in an imposing suit of armor and speaking in a cryptic, third-person manner, Arshin initially serves as a comic relief. However, as the story progresses, it becomes clear that Arshin is far more than she seems. Without giving any heavy spoilers, let's just say Arshin is one of the most intriguing points of the story. Next, Sayas is a character of few words, a mercenary that is hired to escort the party, and Sayas initially appears detached and aloof. However, as the story progresses, it becomes clear that Sayas harbors a deep sense of regret and a longing for redemption. As a skilled swordsman with high speed and critical hit potential, Sayas is an effective damage dealer, particularly against tougher enemies. Last but not least, Ursula, a soldier of the Fu Empire, initially appears as an adversary before joining the party. Her loyalty to the Empire and her unwavering sense of duty defines her character, but her journey with Ryu and the others forces her to question her beliefs and the morality of the Empire's actions. As a ranged specialist character, both her design as well as her gameplay makes her one of my favorites of Breath of Fire 4. And as you can see, Breath of Fire 4 presents a solid, diverse set of characters that covers every aspect of what a JRPG party requires. Its timeless story, unique pixel art and atmosphere make it a perfect candidate for a revival. Whether it be well-made remaster or a remake, there are lots to improve, to polish further and present by also delving deeper into each character's backstory. Whether it be Cray and Elena's childhood story or Sayas' redemption arc, or Ursula's relationship with her comrades or her struggles, it could just elevate what Breath of Fire 4 already excels in. As well as improve the aspects of BOF 4 failed to deliver when it was launched in the year 2000. Whether it be cut content or untold story parts that left BOF 4 fans dissatisfied back then. Breath of Fire 4 delivers a quintessential turn-based JRPG experience, with features such as swapping party members in and out during the battle, learning new skills through observing the enemies, combo system that allows players to chain abilities and spells together for increased damage and as well as unique effects, and of course, dragon transformations. All of these aspects deliver a finely refined JRPG experience with a combat that never gets dull or repetitive. And to be honest, I never had any issues playing Breath of Fire 4 that required intense level grinding or whatsoever. Exploring the map, obtaining different dragon forms for Ryu, and meanwhile getting better gear and leveling up was already more than enough. However, quality of life improvements are always welcome in such old JRPGs. Whether it be XP or money multipliers, any other feature to make Breath of Fire more accessible so that the new players can also complete it without any issues, without Breath of Fire 4 also losing its soul. Especially once such feature could be implemented for the skill inheritance system. To be honest, I've always found this system quite interesting yet tedious. You never get to know which skills are inheritable from which monster, and defending against these monsters to find out if you can learn a skill or not turns into a boring gamble after a while, making you totally ignore this system and move on with your journey. During my last gameplay session, I totally ignored this feature and still never had any issues clearing Breath of Fire 4. So I believe a quality of life improvement would definitely help the newcomers to enjoy this feature more than I did. The world of Breath of Fire 4 is a tapestry of myth and magic, blending Eastern and Western influences to create a setting that feels both timeless and unique. From the serene plains of Windia to desolate landscapes of the Fu Empire, every location is steeped in lore and atmosphere. And this unique ambience, this charming, memorable design is presented through distinctive 2.5D smooth pixel art that excels in both animation and in design. The iconic art design of Breath of Fire 4, its 2.5D sprites set against beautifully rendered 3D backdrops are never fully praised across the players, never been able to reach wider audiences due to Breath of Fire 4 being a PlayStation 1 exclusive title. Well, it's also ported for PC in Europe and in Japan in the year 2003, but good luck finding and also playing that. This art direction, blending the traditional Asian aesthetics incorporating elements of Chinese and Japanese culture into its architecture, costumes, and creature designs remains difficult to remake. Changing these into 3D models or renewed sprites also bring additional labor, as well as the risk of Breath of Fire 4 not being accepted by the old fans. Therefore, remastering it, bringing Breath of Fire 4 with HD visuals and quality of life improvements might be the best bet, so that BOF 4 also won't be able to lose its distinctive identity. All of this leads to one final question. Why did I choose Breath of Fire 4 out of all the Capcom titles that I love? Why I didn't pick God Hand or maybe Mega Man Legends or maybe Strider or Onimusha 3 Remaster? Well, these could someday happen. Between all of these titles, God Hand might be the most difficult title to brought to light again, but there is a new Onimusha title happening that might make Capcom consider to bring out Onimusha 3 Remaster or something, and with the sequel to Okami, even God Hand might be discussing Capcom whether it should be remastered or not. But between all of these IPs, Breath of Fire series has been dormant for nearly 20 years. Since BOF 3's PSP remaster version, it's been dormant, and the most recent appearance that's related to Breath of Fire is the appearance of Fou-Lu in Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode, where he appears as World Tour's super boss. As I mentioned frequently in my past videos and over again, Capcom never forgets, never abandons their past legacy. They might lack the confidence in their IPs or might be drowning in their financial concerns, but they never forget their IPs or their characters and always looking for an opportunity to bring them back to light. As for myself, Breath of Fire 4's music, its sprite art design, Fou-Lu's journey and its character, they're all aspects of Breath of Fire 4 that create an impactful journey. The themes of betrayal, mortality, and divine struggle are presented through a lens that blends Eastern philosophy with a modern, mythic structure. Breath of Fire 4 is simply a story that asks player to not just witness, but to reflect, as Fou-Lu's tragic descent juxtaposes Ryu's hopeful ascension. These dual sides of the narrative makes you wonder how Fou-Lu would have changed if they had the opposite experiences, leaving you with questions like what would happen if Fou-Lu meets with Krei and Nina in the deserts? Would he become more humane and help them to seek out Elena? Would he have cast off his divine position, his divine ego, to become hope? These kind of questions are the proof of a well-written, well-created villain that also shapes the protagonist side of this narrative. Because of that, a remaster, or rather a revival of Breath of Fire 4 would not just reintroduce its unforgettable world and characters to modern audiences, but also demonstrates Capcom's commitment to its legacy of excellence. As always, thank you for watching today's video. If there is any other forgotten IP that you wish me to delve further, be sure to share them by the comments below. Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated. Happy New Year, and I will see you soon in my next video.